In order to become great in the eyes of God, we must first become little. I'm Adrienne.
It's Ricky.
And this is Small Like Paul. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back to another episode of Small Like Paul, everybody. We're so excited to have you guys back. If you guys are new to the channel or new to listening to us in podcast form, make sure right now, before anything else, you smash that subscribe button, smash the follow button wherever you are. Give this video a thumbs up so that the algorithm can get it in front of more people and get these messages out to more people. Thank you guys so much for joining us, guys. And we have someone else joining us. We have another special guest on today's episode. We have our good friend. He's an old friend of ours. We've been on his podcast before. He is the host of the Living Ardently podcast. So let everybody welcome to the floor, Adrienne Garalde. Let's go.
What's up? What's up, y'all? Thanks for having me.
Buddy.
Thanks for.
What's up, bro?
I'm glad it's finally worked out.
Yes, man. We've been really wanting to do this for a while with you, man. You had us both on your podcast, Living Ardently. And basically, if you guys want to go check that out, go to his channel, go subscribe to his channel as well, Living Ardently. But why don't you just introduce yourself to our viewers or anyone who might not know you?
Yeah, so my name, like Ricky said, I'm Adrienne Garalde. I'm first generation Filipino American. Big avid basketball fan, Heat fan, but also I love me some movies, some Marvel, Disney stuff. But outside of that, I studied theology at Ave Maria University for 3 years, got a degree in theology, and then went on to be a youth minister for 3.5 years. And now I'm working social media up in Indiana for the University of Notre Dame, and their ministry the digital outreach program called Garalde Network. And I've been doing that and just moved to South Bend. Just got married a couple months ago to my beautiful wife, Sarah. And we just announced recently that we're having our little baby.
There it is.
Let's go.
And
there it
I'm about
is.
to be a dad.
There he is. Soon to be Papa, man. That's so exciting.
So that's pretty much my life in a nutshell. I'm a host of Living Ardently. I started my podcast back in 2019 when I was bored, and it kind of skyrocketed to something that is, it's not huge, it's not massive, but it's like a lot bigger than I expected it to be. Given that I started a t-shirt company hoping for the same thing, and that didn't go anywhere. So it's refreshing to see, like, gain a community through it and some friends online through it, and getting to interview guys like you, who are doing awesome things in different places of their lives and in different places in the world. I interviewed people from Malaysia, Australia. It's great. It's a great. I like talking to people. I love talking to people. So being a podcast just was perfect. So worked out.
Yeah, man. Let me tell you, you do a great job at it. Even in the interviews that we had together.
Yes.
Your structure and the questions you ask and the games you play. If you guys haven't seen Living Ardently, just please go check out this guy's YouTube channel. It's amazing. It's really good content.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Follow him on all podcast streaming platforms as well.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you follow him on Instagram. We'll include all the handles down below as well, of course, all the details. But Adrienne, bro, you just mentioned the key word, the key topic actually that we're about to be talking about this episode. So just to let you guys know, basically, Adrienne just mentioned that he just got married recently. And for those of you guys that don't know, my boy Age right here just got engaged.
The other Adrienne.
Let's go.
The other Adrienne. By the way, guys, let's get that out of the way real quick.
We're going to go Adrienne.
There are two Adriennes in this podcast right now. Yeah. So we're going to go by Adrienne for Adrienne Garalde, and then Age for this guy over here. So Age basically just got engaged. Guys, engaged Age.
Yes.
Hashtag engaged Age.
Engaged age. That's the wedding hashtag.
That's amazing. But seeing as you guys have this overlap, of course, and so Adrienne, obviously you just got married recently, and you just went through this preparation of preparing for the vocation of marriage. Yeah. So we thought it would be really cool to bring you on to talk about the preparation for the vocation of marriage, seeing as Age is in that right now. So we thought it would be cool to bring you on, bring some tips up, and let the rest of our audience know as well, different tidbits that we can give them, the different tidbits. Of course, this podcast is called Small Like Paul, so we'll give you some perspective of Paul as well. But yeah, man, we're excited to have you on to talk about the vocation of marriage and preparing for it, man.
Yeah, a lot of it's still fresh in my mind, so I'm glad to be able to utilize it and give as much information.
How long has it been so far?
It's been since April. So April 23rd is when we got married, almost 3 months ago from today. Nice. So it's all fresh. It's all, some way call it PTSD. Who knows?
It feels like 3 years. It's only been 3 months.
Yeah. It's only 3 months.
That's so funny.
No, I'm not talking about marriage. I'm talking about preparing for marriage. There's a lot of stuff that goes. Let me tell you, marriage is much better than the preparation part. I gotta say that. That's the first thing.
That's good to know.
Well, let's get into it then. So you guys are obviously are at different standpoints right now. So Adrienne, like, what's the number one thing that was surprising to you? Maybe, I guess, in the preparing for the vocation, like there or just a few different things that surprised you on the journey.
Right. I think a couple of things really. One, that practically time just flies by. Like you got that wedding day and it seems like it's for it's going to be forever. You got to wait till that. We got engaged in June of 2020. And then we got married in this April. So it's almost a year. And it felt like it was going to take forever, but before we knew it, it was there, Wow. But the thing that really surprised me was how great some of the stuff that the diocese had for us as for marriage prep, like things that they required or asked you to fulfill. I thought, oh man, this is gonna be baloney. I already probably know a ton more about the vocation of marriage than most of the people who are gonna be in this class, or even given this class. And just because I studied theology, I felt like I thought I knew it enough, but I was wrong. And there was a lot of good information that my wife and I took away from those meetings that, again, surprised me because I kind of went in there with oh man, I don't need this. It's just dumb. Why are they requiring this of us? I don't know. Every diocese is a little different. But our Orlando diocese, where we got married, kind of required us to do certain things, certificates to get before we could be approved to get the sacrament, despite where you're standing, where you are in the in your sacraments and stuff. You have to do it. So yeah, that was kind of the surprising thing, is that the fruitfulness of those marriage prep courses was actually really good. And going it with an open heart is, I think, something that I would say to everybody, because I went in there with a chip on my shoulder and came out actually loving it,
Yeah. Hey, Age, have you experienced any of that yet? Have you gone through that kind of prep stuff yet, or is it still in the early stages? Obviously,
it's in the early stages. Not yet. We've been kind of trying to figure out what retreat we're gonna do. I guess Diocese of Miami, we just have to do retreat, and then there's a few other there's that questionnaire. I'm pretty sure that's pretty norm.
Focus. Yeah.
We got to do we got to do that as well. We haven't done that yet, but we'll do it soon. So I think the way that our priest who's preparing us wants us to do it is he wants us to fill out the questionnaire separately. Then kind of then go kind of meet with him and then go to the retreat to kind of fill in the gaps of where we kind of didn't align in that questionnaire with our answers and stuff like that. I don't know what the questionnaire is about at all, so I'm just kind of speaking out of just.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, I can give a little bit about that.
So he wants us to do that, then the retreat, and then finalize that.
Oh,
so it's
interesting.
Can you give us a cheat
everyone's
code?
different. And I think it also depends on the priest that's preparing you as well as kind of the strategy techniques that they have. It's it's a whole different ballpark.
Yeah, and it's different too when you're in when you guys are practicing Catholics versus if you're not you're marrying someone who's not a Catholic and stuff like that. The preparation's different. But for us, practicing Catholics with both persons of the couple being practicing, it's a lot easier, So, but yeah, for those who don't know about Focus 11, or I think it's Focus 11, what it's called, but I think it's just Focus. Basically, it's a big question, a long questionnaire that each person in the couple will have to do. and it's questions about like life, like practical stuff, things about like, sometimes it's weird, like why would this even apply? How would this apply? Like you can talk about your parents, your like how you want to how you want to raise your kids, things you're afraid of, like about your spouse or things like that, or just yourself. And it's just like they want to make sure that you guys are aligned in these questions. Particularly like really important parts. Like if there's like a couple of things there that aren't, then whatever. But we found it very helpful. I think that was like our favorite part about marriage prep, was that, because there are a lot of stuff that we knew we still needed to work out and figure out. And you're still going to be doing it after your marriage, right? But there's like no pressure to figure it out then. But having that gives you an opportunity to start the conversation places you don't even think about, especially if you've been dating for X amount of years. You probably feel like you know this person real well. But there's some things that you probably don't talk about, for example, maybe finances. I didn't talk about finances that much with Sarah, but we kind of had a general understanding. We just haven't talked about it,
Yeah.
So it was really helpful, and I think it was really good. I think it was one of our favorite parts, because it just started the conversation about things you wouldn't even think about. Even when it came to like personal issues from the past, wounds, and then you guys will have a priest. We actually had a lay couple converse us through that. And that was really cool, because you have the perspective of a married couple.
Yeah.
Walking us through it. So yeah, I think when it comes to that stuff, go into it with full heart and honestly answer as best as you can. But I think that is going to be one of the most fruitful things in any marriage prep. And regardless of your faith, I feel like, if you're Christian, Catholic, or not even a faith believer at all, this is helpful for any marriage, and could potentially help lower the divorce rate, alone.
Yeah. You know what you're getting yourself into in that moment. Like, cause like you said, that questionnaire and all that, and just preparation in general. I haven't dove deep into it, but I know that things are going to be brought into light that haven't, that have been in the shadows, like that haven't been spoken of, like you said, like finances and stuff like that. Like that's the different. Karen and I do talk about that.
Yeah.
But I know that there's stuff that like we don't talk about or think about that are going to be brought into our, into our face, and we're going to have to deal with it. And that's such an amazing thing. Rather deal with it now and talk about these things now and discuss and converse about that than, 10 years down the line.
Exactly.
So I think that's so beautiful about like preparation, because I know that a lot of like there's a lot of different routes to marriage, but I know that like through the Catholic Church, like it really, really dials in on that, on the whole aspect of just being prepared,
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. We're enjoying every aspect of the engagement process, not trying to speed through it, but also not trying to like chill back. Like we're being very proactive and we're trying to enjoy it, because like you can stress out about like preparing, and obviously like the wedding and all that stuff, and then when it happens, it just happens like that, so it's just like you just want to enjoy every single step. So
it's another level of a relationship, like that sometimes it feels rushed because you're always prepping for a marriage, like, but remove the marriage part out of, prepping for the marriage part out of the engagement. It's such a beautiful, enriching part of your life, because it's like I now am certain, that I want to marry you, and I want to make sure that I am the person I need to be your husband or to be your wife, whatever. And it's just like, if you just kind of take it out of the stress of marriage prep, it's such a beautiful space. But oftentimes it's just kind of like buried under the fact and the loads and the stress of marriage prep. So I think that's really good. It's really smart of you guys to kind of really enjoy this season in your life, because, it's like, it's a whole different from being, dating and marriage. The fiance, the engaged season is so cool.
So yeah, it brings up a good point. Kyra just celebrated her 25th birthday last weekend.
Happy belated.
And what I told her was like, which and like was like on my heart too, and hers as well. It's like we've gone through so many birthdays like as boyfriend and girlfriend, and we're gonna be going through so many birthdays as husband and wife in the future. But this is like the only birthday we celebrate as an engaged couple, as fiance. It's like there's something special about that, you know?
Yeah,
like that little step. It's like that one step, you know? It's just like that. So there's something special about that, and that's just like so trying to live it up, trying to make it one to remember, you know? So that was really cool. That was really cool.
That's really special. That's really special. How long were you guys dating before you guys got engaged?
Yeah, so long. I started dating with her 2014. Okay. We split up for like about a year. Kind of like found ourselves again, found our faith. Dove deep. I remember Ricky was like very, very there in that process too. Like, yeah. Awesome. I was like, I remember I was telling him, I was like, bro, I don't know. He's like, dude, no, man, it's just nostalgia. And but he was guarding my heart. But this is like 5 years ago. This is like 5 years ago.
Exposed.
Who knows about that?
Man, I'll speak to that. Keep finishing your thought though.
But yeah, so it's gonna be like around like 6-7 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. No, and that's so funny because I remember you know me and Age had been like close friends for a couple years at that point, right?
Yeah.
And so they're high school sweethearts, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, when they broke apart, you know, for that season of their lives, like I can just attest to seeing how much the Lord worked in their lives, both of them, in that year. And I love Kai. She's like my sis. But you know, at the time, like I was doing whatever I could as a bro to like guard his heart because like I just wanted to be like, you know, like it was like, are you my brother's keeper? Like in the moment I was trying to be, you know what I mean? And and so, but then like I remember we had a couple of times where we would hang out like just us three, and I was like, man, you guys, like I almost feel like I gave like a little seal of approval at a certain point. I was like, bro, like I was like, yeah, no, man, you guys have both grown so much, and the Lord has done so much in both of your lives. So it's like now it's so beautiful to see years later now, and them being engaged and see the fruit of all the work that they put in that relationship and on themselves. It's a beautiful thing to see.
And that's and I think that's another beautiful part of engagements is like, you know, the dating process is just so rough because it's just so uncertain. Like you don't obviously like in just my own goals, like I only date to, you know, for that vocation. Like I'm dating, I'm not dating just to date. I'm dating, you know, for the next step. But even with that, it's so uncertain. Like anything can happen, you know, like it's just not like there's no ring on her finger. Like, so like that whole dating process is so, you know, it's just so like, it could be gross, you know, it could be very hard. It could be tough. Like, so just like getting to the point of engagement where it's just like we went through all that and we finally made it, and we're not there yet, but we're like we've committed ourselves to each other to this point. I don't know, it's a special thing. So it's definitely gonna be a special year or so, a couple months until that. So
yeah, and I think it's so cool that you guys, you know, got that opportunity to know each other at such a young age and see each other grow and be with each other. I mean, like taking that year apart, but having been through all these tough times, I feel like will only help your marriage even more, you know, knowing where you guys were and where you are now and where you guys will be in the future. Like, it's just like, I don't know, there's something about journeying with somebody, you know, just even as brothers, you know, like you and Ricky being together, both of you being together since how long, you know, for so long now. There's that special thing about friendship that is irreplaceable when you've gone through muddy waters with that person, you know? True. And not to degrade anybody who's gotten married, you know, like just met their spouse and then got married like 6 months later, like the 669 formula, you know, have you heard of that?
No, I've never. Wait, explain that to our viewers. I've never heard of that.
669. So 6 months dating, 6 months engaged, 9 months dating. 6 months engaged is because it's canon law. You have to wait at least 6 months to be engaged, and then 9 months pregnant, you're like having a baby. So that's a 669 formula.
Wow, what a complete 180 turnaround! And what is that? A year and 9 months? Damn.
Almost 2 years.
That's amazing.
Like,
I like that.
Not to say that those people who do something like that or something, like even myself, like me and Sarah only dated, we started dating in October 2019 and got engaged in June. So a little over like 7-8 months, you know?
Yeah.
But we knew we were at that point, you know, I was, you know, we were both at that point of our lives knowing who we want, like what we wanted, what we wanted out of a spouse. And there was like that certainty there. And despite me not going through like muddy waters with her growing up and seeing where she's gone and all this stuff, there's the vulnerability in the relationship that you get to experience.
There's a beautiful
it gives you an insight.
Sorry.
No, what you saying?
You stopped. Sorry, I thought you had stopped talking, but I'll say that's just there's a beautiful the beautiful thing about that, like just like not having to go through that, or like because you're already at a state of maturedness, you know, like I feel like the con, the struggle, I don't know if Kyra would agree, but like for me it was just like, you know, like we kind of had to like see each other go like mature, you know, so it's just like when you're dating for so long, it's like you don't know when that next thing is, like, because you don't I guess you don't really see yourself maturing. You can only see it in the other person. I don't know, it's just weird. It's just like the amount of years that we dated, like from when we started dating in high school, like 12th grade, to when I proposed to her this past May. I just feel like obviously I knew at that point like it was gonna happen sooner or later. But it was just like getting to that point just felt like so elongated. It was just like it was that's like the whole, sorry I just hit that, but that's how like the whole point of just like the uncertainty. It was just like you don't know when am I ready, like trying to question that about yourself, like when are we ready, when am I ready, when is this ready? Like when you know you're ready, you know, I'm here, I'm like I'm trying to find like the girl of my dreams. Like for my case, she was always in front of me, you know. It was just a matter of like when is God's timing. So it was just like that was like the really hard part. But there's beautiful points to both situations, I think. Like just
so let's pose the question to you, Adrienne. Like when did you know that you were ready, or how did you discern? That's probably a good question for the audience to know about, is how did you discern knowing that she was the one, and that you're like, all right, I'm gonna pop the question. Like how did you go through that process?
Don't mess up.
I think to backtrack first, I just want to say, like, I think before I can get to that point, a crucial part was for me to know that I was actually called to the vocation of marriage, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. So, I mean, for me, that was probably the bigger part of this realization was because after, I mean, like Age, I was in a relationship in high school that I thought was going to end up becoming with this person was going to be my wife. We had dated for 4.5 years, you know, like we had came back to Christ together. We went to a retreat, Steubenville, had our moment. She became Catholic and all this stuff. And I thought we were going to be great, but it just turned out we didn't, and that during that time I was really low. But it was like the perfect time for me. My spiritual director called me, was like, hey, this is a perfect time for you to discern priesthood legitimately. I know you said that you have as in a relationship, but that's not, like you're not clear there. So he challenged me to do it, and I did. And he's like, but do not tell anybody. Don't tell people that you're discerning to be a priest or discerning priesthood or anything like that. Because, like people will start talking to you and you'll just get ideas in your head because people will say, oh, you'd be a great priest. Because anybody like who goes to church on Sunday apparently is going to be a good priest someday. Any dude under 20.
It's a low bar. It's a low bar these days.
We all have the potential, yeah.
Right. any kid under 20s who's a guy, he goes to mass every Sunday. Like, oh yeah, you'll be a good priest someday. Oh, thank you. Anyway, so yeah, you just said, he just kept telling me, just like keep it to yourself and pray about it. And so, I knew after a few months of doing this, and I went to a vocation awareness weekend over in Miami at the seminary down there, and that was the weekend where it kind of became clear to me that, my family, I want to create a Catholic, beautiful Catholic family. Like I want that to be marry a beautiful wife who's going to help me do the same, who has the desire to raise a beautiful children in the faith in a beautiful home that is going to create this this home that is I can't say, but that is welcoming to all and to loving to all, that is just undeniably filled with Christ, if that's like, to put it simply. I knew that at the end of that retreat, after in prayer, like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to create a family dynamic that was Catholic. And I didn't know what that meant, or how. I mean, did it mean? I was like, does it mean that I become a priest? I mean, it was kind of still a little muddy at first. I was like, does that mean I become a priest and then like help my family like become very devout Catholics? Like they're all Catholic, but they can be a little sometimes lukewarm. Where the faith doesn't really come first, even though they are Catholic. So I thought at first that's what he meant, because I was at the retreat. Then like in prayer, and then kind of had this vision of me holding a baby with my wife. And I didn't. Wow. I just knew it was a lady with hair. That's all I knew. And kind of from there on, I knew that I needed to go forward from there. And so I know that was kind of a backtrack there. But for Sarah, when we were dating, we had we've had these conversations, especially when you're, like Age said, we're dating, like us guys, we should be dating for the vocation of marriage, with that in mind. Like, I'm not going to just date around to date around. So the conversations with Sarah, I mean, she was the same, like she was initiating some of the conversations. She was bringing these up sometimes, and it wasn't always just me. And it was great because, we're taught as guys in faith that we need to lead and do this, but, sometimes we need to be led too. You know what I mean? Yeah. And for Sarah to kind of do this and just kind of progressively in our relationship to show the strength in her faith that she had is kind of where I knew, like, this is the woman that I want helping me raise a beautiful family. Like, I want to marry her. I want to, start a family with her. And I know when I'm low, she'll step up. And I know when she's low, I will step up. And I mean, you can say that about any girl, any guy, that you date, that's Christian or Catholic, but not every person is the right fit for you. Right. Personality wise, spiritually sometimes even. But for Sarah and I just kind of knew through our conversations about marriage and family that this is a person that would be helping me stay accountable and helping me be a good man, while also helping me raise, or who will raise and help me raise beautiful children in the faith, Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of a long-winded answer. It kind of sounds like a sellout answer, but I'm sure.
No, it's a great answer.
Another way I've heard it, and I was just trying to look for the podcast, but I forgot the name of it, but it'll come to me later. But what they said was like, and it totally hit the mark. It's like, we just want to see, our significant other. We want to see more of them in this world. We want to multiply more of them in this world. Like, I want more of you in this world. That's really what it is. Like,
that says be fruitful and multiply, man.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
I love who you are. Like, I love what you stand for. Like, I want the world to be more like you.
Yeah.
And that's just like, I thought that was like a beautiful way to see it as
that's
well.
That's really great.
That's so good.
I'll never be alone. I'm with you. To my heart.
Hey guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in to part 1 of our episode with Adrienne Garalde from Living Ardently. We're so excited to share with you guys part 2 coming very soon. So make sure you guys subscribe, like this video, and comment down below what you guys think of part 1. And we can't wait to see you guys with part 2.